Howdy heroes, Cosmo the Magician here with my preview of the new Aegis of Valor set, coming soon to Season 19, the Season of Pandemonium. If you've ever wanted to be a storm god or a storm goddess, then indeed this set is going to be the set for you. You'll be able to lay down so much lightning on the battlefield it would make Nikola Tesla jealous. Now, before we look under the hood and see just what makes this set tick, keep in mind that all this information is coming from the pre-release public test realm, also known as the PTR. So we can expect some changes probably to the stats and stuff before this goes live, but hopefully overall the general dynamics of the set will stay the same. Now, this build is all about your Fist of Heaven. Let's take a look at the bonuses. The 2-piece bonus gives us a chance that the charged bolts from Fist of Heaven will strike twice, effectively doubling our damage. The 4-piece bonus gives us our damage reduction. For each hit, it gives us 1% damage reduction lasting for 5 seconds, stacking up to 50 times. Keep in mind these stacks do last, so you can build up 50% damage reduction and maintain that damage reduction for a long time. And finally, the 6-piece bonus gives us 10,000% damage increase. Keep in mind that, as I said, all this information is coming from the public test realm pre-release, so the numbers are likely going to change. Now let's look at some of the other gear you will most likely want to use along with this incredible set. First off, in our main hand, we have the Flail Darklight, which, first of all, makes us cast Fists of Heaven twice. Another additional damage bonus. Yay! Plus, it's going to give us a multiplier. Mine happens to have 230% damage increase, so even more damage. Yay, damage! In our offhand, we have Akarat's Awakening, which, every time we block a hit, gives us a percentage chance of increasing our cooldown reduction, or CDR. Around our waist and on our legs, we have Captain Crimson's Trimmings. This gives us a 6,000 life per second regeneration, a cooldown reduction, or CDR, of 20%. It also reduces our resource costs by 20%. And the big bonus is that it increases our damage done and reduces our damage taken based on our cooldown reduction. Next up, we're wearing the Endless Walk Ring Amulet combo, which reduces our damage taken by 50% while we're moving and increases our damage dealt by 100% while we're standing still. Socketed in our ring, we have Gogok of Swiftness, which will give us up to 15 stacks of dodge and attack speed bonus, but most importantly, those stacks also increase our cooldown reduction by up to another 15%. Socketed in our amulet, we have Esoteric Alteration, which reduces all non-physical damage. In other words, those pesky arcane spinners, poison, fire, things like that are going to do less damage to us. Our final piece of jewelry is the Oculus Ring. When we kill something, this has a chance of making a glowing circle appear on the ground. If we stand in that circle, we will get a hefty damage bonus. And our last piece of gear, on our wrist we're wearing the Strong Arm Bracer. Any enemy hit by our knockback effect will take additional damage. More about that knockback effect later. Now let's take a look at what we have in Kanai's queue. In the weapons slot, we have Baleful Remnant. When we kill something with this, they will turn into an avatar that will fight for us for 10 seconds. But that's not our only option. For our armor slot, there really is only one option, and that's Cassette's Cord, which increases the damage done by our Fist of Heaven and decreases the amount of wrath needed to cast. And of course, in our jewelry slot, we must have the Ring of Royal Grandeur, which will allow us to have the full benefits of both the Aegis of Valor and the Captain Crimson set. Now let's look at our skills and passives. Our primary attack, of course, is Fist of Heaven. And since this is the Storm Goddess build, we're using the rune Fissure. Our secondary attack is Condemn with the rune Vacuum. This will start making a big explosion while pulling enemies toward us. Now, oddly enough, even though it's pulling enemies toward us, this counts as a knockback effect. And if you recall, our bracers are giving us additional damage to any enemy affected by a knockback. Our first skill is Iron Skin with the rune Steel Skin. This gives us 50% damage reduction. Next we have Steed Charge, Draw, and Quarter, which allows us to charge through our enemies while dragging enemies behind us, doing damage to them. It's really fun to grab a couple of elites and just drag them on the ground. This will also make it easier to get out of the middle of a group of enemies and into the circle that the Oculus Ring will drop on the ground. Next up is Laws of Valor, Unstoppable Force. This gives us an attack speed boost, but more importantly reduces our wrath cost by 50%. Our final skill is Akarat's Champion with the rune Prophet. This gives us a bonus to the damage that we do, the rate at which we regenerate wrath, and finally, our armor. And just as important, if we take enough damage that we might die, instead it will instantly resurrect us so we don't die. Our first passive is Long Arm of the Law. This increases the duration of our Laws of Valor by 5 seconds. Next is Indestructible, which is another get out of death free ability, in addition to the Prophet rune on our Akarat's champions. And Hold Your Ground may get rid of our ability to dodge, but it increases our block by 50%, and every one of our blocks increases our cooldown reduction, which makes us deal more damage and take less damage. And further, the skill Fervor gives us more cooldown reduction along with attack speed. So, in summary, what we have here is a build where we're going to charge to and from our enemies. We're going to lay down Condemn, which is going to suck our enemies to us, while building up an explosion. All the while, we're going to build up cooldown reduction, which increases the damage we do and decreases the damage we take. All the while looking out for Oculus Rings on the ground that we'll charge into to do even more damage. And one thing I almost forgot, make sure you put a Flawless Royal Diamond in your helm to get more cooldown reduction, and visit the Mystic and enchant as much of your gear as possible for cooldown reduction. Now that we put this all together, let's go into a rift and try it all out. Now, the very first thing we're going to do in the Rift is set our 3 buffs, our Iron Skin, Laws of Valor, and Akarat's Champion, on autocast. If you do not know how to use the autocast numlock feature, I've provided a link to a short video explaining that. We will have enough cooldown reduction from our gear, our skills, our gem, to make sure that our Laws of Valor and Iron Skin are always up, and our Champions of Akarat are almost always up. Look at all that cooldown reduction we get just from standing still. And of course, we're going to get even more from blocking attacks and making attacks. So on with the Rift. I speeded this up a bit to make sure this whole video fits into 15-minute time limit that YouTube demands, so enjoy. We're getting close to the end here, folks, so I just want to take a moment and thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it enjoyable and informative, and I hope you want to see more of my videos. Thanks again, and enjoy!